Hello, I am Kevin Hartzog. I'm a biology chemistry teacher at Balboa High School. And this is a tutorial on how to use Jamboard for the mark it up annotating test strategy. So uh, mark it up annotation is an important tool for reading. And what the purpose is to turn reading to a conversation so that you're talking to the author to try to get a better understanding of what it is you're reading. In that, there are several tools we actually have. We have highlighters that I've used in the past. So I've done this on books over the years. There are pens and pencils you can use to write in it, to underline, circle. When I look at the mark it up, there are some basic strategies we use and just kind of keeping it simple, the simple pieces, because we can get really complex as a highlighter. And I highlight main ideas. I highlight claims, relevant data, evidence within the reading, or some significant phrases. And that's the highlighter. I like to use a highlighter really sparingly within the piece to kind of hit, again, I like to hit the main ideas and claims within the whole thing. So it should just be a few things in there. Though in this, you may see me highlighting more than that. Underlining words, phrases, sentences that are unclear or stand out to you. Now, personally, I like to underline examples. That goes back to what I've highlighted in terms of the claims or some of the main ideas within the reading. And so I'm using the underlying that because I use my circle more for words that are unfamiliar or sentences that are unclear. So I like to things that I'm not really sure what it means, I like to circle. Another thing that I find very useful is I've always written in the margin. Again, you are talking to the text, talking to the author. So within the Jamboard, you're able to actually put post-its in there. One of the things about high school and middle school is you don't own the books, unlike college. So you can't really write in the margin without damaging the book. But what I've done for my AP Bio students and my AP Chemistry students is have them write in the book on post-its. And then the post-its gives them that way the ability to communicate with it. So let's go to the mark it up within the Jamboard and take a look at this one article we have. And it's an article that I've actually used in my class. It is Noble Nose Grown in the Lab. So this is an article that came out of 2016 on stem cell research. And you're going to learn a little bit about what that is within this article. So let's get started. So a noble nose grown in the lab, Associated Press article, and London, scientists in England are growing noses, ears, and veins in the lab. They're making body parts for people who need them. Okay, that sounds like a main idea. So I'm going to go to my highlighter, click on the highlighter, and I like to use yellow. I do wish the yellow within the Jamboard is a little bit more transparent, but again, I'm so used to yellow within this. So scientists in England, that's not such a big thing in terms of who, but starting with my verb are growing noses and ears in a lab. So that is really major things and are making body parts for people who need them. Scientists worldwide are not growing body parts. Mayor Johnson is showing off the London's lab work. He hopes to attract more scientists to the London area. Only a handful of patients have received the London-made body parts so far. Parts include veins. Okay, so now we're getting into some information that's important, but it's not a main idea or a claim. So I'm going to go to my pen, select a different color so it stands out. And the parts include, and again, I don't really need to underline the article the. So parts include veins and windpipes. They can also grow parts of the eye. That makes out where the tears come out. So I'm going to now circle this one because again, what is it that what's the part that tear comes out? And on this one, I'm going to add a post-it. So like asking a question, do they mean tear ducts? And a little question mark there. And again, and I'm going to place my post-it right where I saw the text. And I'm going to resize this because again, this is meant for me, not for someone else. Although as a teacher, I go back and read that to see what they understand, my students. And continue, scientists will hope will soon be able to make even more body parts, give people who need them. One of the goal is to make the world's first nose using stem cells. Okay, so here is another term as a little new, so make sure I have my pen selected. So what are stem cells? And the next sentence then defines the stem cells. These are cells in the body that can be made into blood cells or skin cells. Okay, is that a claim or main idea? It's definitely an important point. I'm going to highlight that one. I think it is a big enough point. These are cells that can be made into blood cells or skin cells. And I can ask, where do stem cells come from? Do we have stem cells? And I will put that little post-it again right next to the area that I saw it and resize it. I want to be able to kind of see it. And again, one of the nice things about the computer is you can always increase the size. It doesn't matter so much. Just like making a cake. Is scientists dealing an effort and we're just using a different kind of oven. So the British given 6.7 million in research for this. Major research center open in London next year. The country wants to support the project and hopes scientists from different labs will work together. Last year, he has made a nose for a British man. The man lost his nose because he got sick. Okay, that is important piece. It's not a claim, so I'm going to select the pen in my green color. So a man lost a nose because he got sick with cancer. And the team of scientists molded a nose from a chemical mixture. So giving a little bit more details in the steps here. They added salt and sugar to create the sponge-like feel of a natural nose. So this is kind of like making a cake, a sponge cake. How do the scientists grow the nose? So now I've got a question here. That I think is going to be a highlighter. This is getting into another major idea. So how do they grow the nose? So they give me some details. So I go back to my pen. So they took stem cells from the patient's fat. So we do have stem cells. So going back to the post-it, so they use the patient's own stem cells. Again, you notice I keep talking as I'm going through this. So I'm always thinking, always talking to myself in terms of what is the author saying or what do I understand? And I repeat it back, or maybe doing another word. It's my way of trying to understand the text. And that's what the annotation, the markup is designed to do. They grew the cells in the lab for 2 weeks. They were used to cover a molded nose. So lab-grown cells are used to cover the molded nose. And then attach the nose to the man's forearm where the skin will grow to cover it. So he's going to have a nose growing on his forearm. What is it like? Have your nose grow on your forearm? And again, in my class, my students are kind of learning what this technique is. But again, the focus of this is the mark it up. So Stefan doesn't know when the nose can be taken from the arm and attached to the patient's face. He's waiting for government to give him permission. Okay, that's a minor side issue, but I'm going to use my pen on this one again. So there is some aspect of permission. So why do you need permission? Why do you need government permission? So is this an ethical issue? Is this a copyright issue? What is the issue with the government? The material Stefan uses to make body parts is protected. Is that a main idea that they're going into right now, or just a side issue? I think it's a side issue, so I'm going to stick with the pen. Other scientists cannot copy the material without permission. Okay, this one sounds like, so is it a copyright issue? Or patent? Because they use patents. Make sure, I don't know if I can spell it correctly. So copyright is like making music and the music is yours. Other people can't use it or copy it without your permission. They have to give royalties to you. If you come up with a new technique in manufacturing or something, or a new way of making a car, like the Tesla car has done, the electric car. So you need permission for that as well. This team's creating other body parts too. These include hearts and ears. Okay, ooh, this is big, and I may want to highlight that one. It's not a main idea, but it's a big one. It's been a while since I've done that one. And I also just want to stand out from all the underlines I've done. So hearts and ears have been included. And the ears will be tested in India and London later this year. Ears are harder to make than noses because it's tricky to copy all the ears, lines, and curves. Griffin is a doctor who works with Stefan's lab. She's made dozens of ears and noses. Today, children in new ears and noses will have major surgery. Okay, this is a big point, but a pin piece. So it's additional information. So today, children who need new ears and noses, and it's major surgery. You notice not highlighting or underlining the whole sentence this time. I kind of left off the verb, who said it. Unless I need to quote it, I don't really need that to understand it. Scientists have to make noses and ears perfect before making more challenging body parts. Ellen is a professor in London. She is not involved in Stefan's research. The more complicated body part to create are kidneys. So pen or highlighter? I'm going to go back to the highlighter because I've been highlighting parts. So when I'm trying to do kidneys, lungs, and livers, and that definitely goes back to cancer because I've heard of lung cancer. Gentleman says what Stefan is doing is pretty amazing. Sometimes it says that the lab-made body parts will be used in hospitals in the future. You're going to be put on the market soon. And Hodgson says she's a science professor in Sweden. Has used lab-made blood vessels with a handful of patients. I think that is just additional information, so I'll go back to my pen. And plans to use more of them in 2016. First, she must wait for government permission. Stefan has high hopes for lab-made body parts. Says may one day cost only a few $100s. Many different size noses could be created quickly. And factory one day. Doctor could choose the nose size. Then they could change the nose a bit for each patient before attaching it. And this brings up an interesting ethical question. Could this replace plastic surgery? If you can make different size noses. and place that one there on the very bottom. And again, this is how I use the markup. So within the Jamboard, I use the pen tool and I use the highlighter feature of it or the pen feature. It also has a marker and also has a brush. So you can actually use a few other things. I also use the post-it feature, making the sticky notes within this. And this is how we use the mark it up. We're using Jamboard to do the mark it up on a article. Again, I just did a screenshot of the article, placing it into the Jamboard. And for that one, I just kind of clicked into the add the image tool and then went to the browse to select the particular file I wanted to use. So hopefully this tutorial has been of use to you and you'll be able to use Jamboard to annotate your text and get a better understanding of what you're reading.